what I really love about white winemaking is the finesse involved in it. With reds, you pick it at the right time. The phenolics are right, the sugars are right. You throw it in the tank 7 days later, and it's probably going to be pretty good. With white wines, the fermentation takes a little bit longer because we're fermenting at a lower temperature to build mouthfeel within the wine. So many people think of whites as sort of like this linear thing. They're all the same. Really crisp, kind of light-bodied, but we're trying to make white wines that have a little bit more mouthfeel that go along with the, I don't want to say harsh, but nice bright acidity.
One of my favorite things about making white wine is the turnaround. The fruit will come in sometime in August, September, and these wines get to be released the following year in January, February, March. I'm not a patient person, so for me that's very fulfilling to get to see, my completed work soon after the harvest. Also with white wine, there's so many different techniques: fermentation, aging time, aging style, aging vessel, everything, which impart very different characteristics on those wines. So there's more room to play around and more opportunities to create the exact wine that you want, regardless of the variety.
Vessels that we use for white winemaking, we use stainless steel oak fermenters, which you can see behind me. We do a little bit of barrel fermentation and quite a bit of concrete fermentation that might be in one of our eggs or one of our cubes that are down in the stainless room.
So from vessel to vessel, with stainless steel, that's typically used for more of the crisp, acidic white wines. A lot of the Mary Ruth is actually done in stainless steel. With oak, you get more body flavor depending on whether it's new or neutral oak. Also with oak, we typically do lees stirring, so all of that sediment which has settled at the bottom will stir that up, and that also creates texture, mouthfeel, contributes to aroma, everything. So for the heavier bodied white wines, that's a technique that we might use. Also with concrete, you get sort of a minerality flavor from that, and that is another vessel which we utilize lees stirring on.
Yeah, the different vessels that we use are more, for me, they're more about the oxygen transfer from the ambient air into the wine. So with stainless steel, you're not going to get any oxygen transfer at all. With oak, you're going to get the most. That's oak fermenters and then oak barrels that we use. And concrete is somewhere in the middle. So you have all of these layers that you can build a final blend with. The oxygen is going to round out the mouthfeel. It's going to make the texture a little bit better, a little bit more structure that you just don't really get in stainless white winemaking. Yep, picking a white wine is pretty difficult because if you miss your pick, everything's going to be out of balance. With a red wine, your sugar levels are a little bit higher. Maybe your phenolics are a little bit higher. You're more on the riper side. It's not really going to affect you too much, just because of the structure, texture, tannin, everything that you love about a red wine is going to go with the higher alcohol and kind of level itself out. With a white wine, you have to get it right on the money, or you're going to be all out of whack. It's going to feel disjointed. It's just not going to make a great wine. With the Rhone varietals that we use, Roussanne, Marsanne, Viognier, Picpoul, you can start to lose acid really, really quickly. And if you're not on top of testing every single day, you can miss your window. And your pH will jump, your total acidity will go down, and then you're going to have all kinds of problems in the cellar. So you have to be really on top of it, and our vineyard team does a fantastic job. Pairing for Mary Ruth. Probably fish. Probably go traditional, like fish or chicken. Like there's so much acid on this wine, which I absolutely love. Like, we did a little bit of the barrel fermented Sauvignon Blanc in this one, just to round out the mouthfeel, just a touch. But the acid is so great on this one. I think like fish would be perfect.
So one of my favorite pairings for really acidic whites is something creamy to cut the acid, and then you can enjoy all of that cream, and it's still feels light. So something like risotto, like mushroom risotto, seafood risotto, or like pasta with cream sauce, seafood pasta with cream sauce. That's always my kind of go-to, because having a full-bodied white wine with a creamy dish is way too rich. So you really need the acid in the wine to cut through that.
I mean, we make white wine at William Crisp because I think we grow the varietals that are best suited for Texas. Roussan, Marsanne, La Straw makes a Viognier. We're now making Sauvignon Blanc and Simeon out of Del Valle, which grows really, really well there. Muscat is also great. We put it in the Mary Ruth along with Blanc de Bois. All these varietals are pretty well suited for the Texas climate. And I mean, we're getting better every year at growing them, but I think we've made some pretty outstanding wines with them.
Last year when we made the Sauvignon Blanc for the first time, I was really shocked that, I mean, one, that was even growing in the state, and two, that we were getting some, and it turned out to be so great. The one this year is great.
I think everybody was pretty shocked about it.
Yeah, it was very much a surprise, but a very pleasant surprise, and I think that's something that we'll continue to have in our portfolio. At least I hope that's something that we continue to have. The Roussan is great year to year. Yeah, I love making white wine, and I'm happy that we have it.
And to pick the, don't pour it yet. Pour it when you're answering the question.
Oh, God.